Our archaeologists, they were excavating for decades. Finally, 5 years ago, they have found something unique. Here on the bigger hill, 3 basilicas. On the smaller hill, 2. Between the 2 hills, 4. Altogether 9. Basilica is what we call the early Christian churches. Every one of them big as a cathedral, and every one of them with many attached buildings. Every early Christian church is not only the church, always more buildings, a complex of constructions. 3 complexes here, 2 on the smaller hill. Between the 2 hills, 4 complexes of buildings. In the center of every complex of buildings, a cathedral-sized church. Up there we see a partially reconstructed roof line of one of them. Underneath the present-day visible city, there is another city of temples only. This is why our government is building this big research center, all these new buildings around. They want to have again the first Christian university of Clement. His grave is there in the medieval church. In order to welcome all the scientists, to explain many things, also this one. Who has built a city of temples? What for? But Slavian, the philosopher, is going to explain right away in a couple of minutes. This way, please. Our archaeologists, they have found a city of churches. The Greek archaeologists, dozen years ago, they have also published, it's also official, they tell us at least 130,000 years of seafaring in the Mediterranean Sea. In Europe, 2 most quiet seas of the world. The Baltic even warm. Nobody's got a warm sea in the north, only we do, because of the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic Ocean. Europeans, plain, ordinary people, but this special geography made us the first navigators. And today, the masters of the world rule Britannia. We have managed to understand who are the builders of the city of temples. The Europeans, we have understood them geographically. Now, what is a temple? What is religion? The first fate of mankind is biologically defined. The mother nature. For the blessed fishermen, Europe is a paradise for fishermen. Mother water, the biggest well of Europe, Ohrid Lake. To third of us, Germanic, Slavic, we say the same. Light, luminosity, God, divinity. In English, luminosity, shine and aura. Halo. The same word, holy, means godly, divine, sacred. On these shiny, sacred waters, we thank Mother Water. The oldest, the clearest, the purest waters of Europe, 22 meters transparency, the shiniest place of Europe. With the rule of man, Iron Age, many weapons, big armies, times of war, we start imagining souls of big heroes here inside these clear waters as ghosts, as lights within. Holy well, English. Holy waves, German, Heilige Welle. Scandinavian mythology, Valhalla. The Vikings buried themselves in water. The old name of Odin, the superior divinity of the Scandinavians, Voden. Voda in Slavic means water. Voden, Odin, he is mercurial, a changeling, like the water is constantly in movement. In the Bible it says, after this life sky, there is a city for us there, Jerusalem in heaven. We, the modest Europeans, on our fisherman heaven, we have built ourselves a heavenly city, only churches. And Christian today, but still superstition. For example, we throw coins in the water, the wishing well. This way, please, I must show you something. Around the small medieval church, much bigger ruin. On the eastern wall, it is behind you, of this big ruined building, we see an oval part. That is the way to make an altar. Around a small medieval church, much bigger early Christian ruined church. To this early Christian church as a separate building belongs a big baptistry. There in the mosaic I must show you something. 30 kilometers long, 15 kilometers wide, 300 meters deep, the biggest amount of drinking water in Europe, huge amount of water. Therefore, figs, olives like by the sea, but 700 meters above the sea level, the lake surface. Here, the city 800 meters. This combination of mountain and sea climate, the medical professionals, they tell us, is optimal for human health. Halo, holy, health, healing is all the same word. People throw coins in the water everywhere in the world, the most common superstition of mankind. Now we'll find out why. With small pieces of shiny metal, with the light of the coins, we touch the light in the water, and the light in the water makes the wishes true. In our present-day European languages, we still have words like the word swastika. A swan is a white bird. Sweden, Switzerland, white countries, lot of snow in these countries. The rest of the word, stika, is of an onomatopoeic origin. When we industriously, quickly, out of habit, weave together, plait together the flexible willow tree branches, when we weave baskets, we hear such a sound. This basket weaving sound is the origin of the present-day European expressions: texture, structure, textile. The swastika is an algorithm, graphical instruction for weaving. Texture of light, texture of white. This is our spirit in the water, Mother Water. Therefore, this pagan, pantheistic symbol, European fisherman superstition, plaid of light in water, we've got thousands of swastikas. These swastikas, they are everywhere in these ruined churches. An archaeological exhibition, ruined churches. This symbol is from the Stone Age, at least 18,000 years old is the swastika. The swastika is found everywhere in the world, on every continent, with every people, always in a religious, ritual context. If we navigate for at least 130,000 years, then we, the Europeans, we have been sailing all over the world for tens of thousands of years, spreading our fisherman superstition everywhere. Our history apparently is much longer than we thought. Imagine, please, everywhere in these church spaces, like here in the baptistry, on the floor mosaic. Underneath the floor mosaic, floor heating, central heating with hot air. These roofs, they are for a modest archaeological exhibition. Originally, not such low, simple roofs. Let us imagine elegant cupoles. The mosaics on the floor, on the walls, up there on the cupoles, mosaics with gold. In these church spaces, images everywhere around us. Here where they have found 3 big churches like this one, the ruined one. 2 bathhouses, not ordinary, famous, luxurious Roman baths. These first churches, they are like royal palaces. For the Christians, God is Father. If God is Father, this world is from the Father, the best of all possible worlds. Also the church is the best possible. But 2 centuries after Constantine, 4th century Emperor Constantine, religious freedom, first churches. 2 centuries later, 6th, terrible earthquakes all over the Mediterranean Sea. All of these first rich churches, all of them are destroyed. In the 7th century, we gather an ecumenical council, we give them up. These early Christian temples destroyed by earthquakes are desacralized. We, the Christians, we have forbidden ourselves ever to build them up, ever to use them again. Afterwards, 7th century, one small church, and until this very day, Orthodox temples, they are modest in size, in order to accentuate humility because of these traumatic earthquakes. Catholic cathedrals, big again like these first churches, but they are not the same. Heating, what heating? And their monumentality, their size, is there to instill fear from God in the believer. They are intentionally cold and frightening. We can see both Orthodox and Catholic Christians after these traumatic earthquakes through the way that we build our temples, through our sacral architecture. We accentuate humility in a different way. The community life is never again in the church. There are many deserted Orthodox and Catholic temples. Orthodox Catholic Christians, we do not go to church just for the rites, baptism, wedding, funeral, some holiday, some Sunday. The community life returns to the church with the Reformation. Protestants, they are every day in the church. Protestant churches are community centers. But all three of us, until this very day, because of these earthquakes from the 6th century, in the church as a building, because the word church also means community. Our behavior, modest. Teachers tell children, now we go to church quiet. These first Christian temples, I cannot imagine them to have been quiet. After hundreds of years of persecution, all this luxury and comfort, I rather imagine them to have been like the black churches in America today with all those singing and dancing. Definitely not quiet. This small church from the 7th century, also destroyed in the 15th century, the Turkish general Çelebi Pasha, that little white thing over there, that's his grave, he destroys our modest church from the 7th century. He builds up a mosque. The mosque was destroyed 2 centuries later in the 17th century by an earthquake, and for more than 300 years there was a ruin of a mosque standing here. They never rebuilt it. But 20 years ago, 2002, we have rebuilt the church again. We can see what is old, what is new. The old part by the altar of the medieval church, that is from the 7th century. Otherwise, a brand new church, 22 years old. Here we see this corner, that is the corner of the foundation of the mosque. We'll see again similar thing in front of the northern entrance into the church. Unfortunately, inside the church, we cannot film. So, when the Turks destroy the church, the Christians, they take the bones of St. Clement, place them elsewhere. Now back here, it was his wish to be buried here. In order to understand St. Clement, 9th century, we go one more time back to the 6th, the time of the earthquakes. Then we had a powerful ruler, Justinianus, born here in the vicinity of Skopje. He unites all of the Mediterranean, gives to the Mediterranean Roman Empire almost the glory of former legendary times. Justinianus, not only mighty, wise, brings law. Codex Justinianus, that is the foundation of the legal system in all Christian countries worldwide. Very big, Justinianus. But what is common sense telling us about the big people? With the big people, everything is big. There are mistakes also. What did big Justinianus do that is wrong? Justinianus places under government control the oldest educational scientific institution, the Philosophical Academy of Athens, stops existing. 1,000 years of science, of education is brought to an end. Philosophy under anybody's, under any control, that is not possible. If there is no freedom of thought, there cannot be any philosophy. From the end of the Athenian Academy, 6th century Justinianus, until St. Clement, 9th century, we have an offer of formal education only at the imperial court, Constantinople, and with discontinuity. Dozen times in these 300 years, they start and they stop offering education. We can see what is happening. These people that we call today the Byzantine people, that would be after the old name of Constantinople. Before Constantine, the city was called Byzance. They do not call themselves Byzantine. That is a later expression. They call themselves the Holy Roman Empire. Christian state, that is contradictory. Christianity, that is love. Everybody knows love is not a state. The religion is telling us the same thing. Give to king what's king's, give to gods what's God's. My kingdom is not of this world, says Jesus Christ. State of love never existed, does not exist, never shall exist. We should not have tried. 1,000 years of Byzantium is 1,000 years of tragedies. We have mentioned already the tragedy with the earthquakes, now the tragedy in the education. Education for a Christian society should be for everybody, should be for everyone. If not possible, not enough this, not enough that, logistic problems, in every society always there is a certain number of privileged people. By possessions, by influence in the society there is. Any kind of service, offer it to the privileged. They are able, they'll provide whatever you need, you'll serve them. Not the first idealistic option for everybody, not the second realistic for those who can afford it, the pitiful, tragic third option. From time to time we raise educational campaigns in order to reproduce the administration, to maintain our rule. Pitiful, especially for Christian empire. Therefore, when this humble preacher comes here in the 9th century, St. Clement, he was a bishop here, but the archaeologists, they tell us, he finds here a chapel from the 7th, the altar space. Makes it a little bit bigger, the nave. The porch is there from the 14th century. If he had built anything else, it must have been built of planks of wood. There is nothing. He was a bishop, but bishop of the people. He was not supported by Constantinople. He had meager, if any, resources. But he manages to gather 3,500 pupils. He's the founder of the first Christian university, not as architecture, but as an activity. And he is not alone. On the other side of the lake, his co-worker, Saint Naum, also a pupil of Saint Cyril and Saint Method, the people who have introduced the third language into Christianity. After the commercial language of the Mediterranean, Greek, like English is now globally, and the language of the rulers, Latin, the language of the people, Slavic. Saint Naum, on the other side of the lake, he takes care of the mentally ill, doctor, psychiatrist. These two people, teacher, doctor, shepherds of the flock. From the society, they make a community, family, church. They are the founders of the present-day Christian culture. Therefore, we present them in a special way, with heads bigger than in real life. You have probably noticed two recently addicted statues in the middle of the new city with big heads. Again, all of this simple geography, we the Europeans, we are not better, we are not smarter than others, we are completely ordinary. But Europe is the center of this world, which is water. Where do we celebrate water? On the best water we've got. On the same place as Christians in the 4th century, we have even built ourselves a heavenly city on earth of temples only. We have managed to say already at the beginning very important things about ourselves as Europeans in general. What we have managed to say is obvious geographically. 2 most quiet seas, warm sea in the north, deeply imprinted in our languages, in our culture. Halo, holy, health, healing, Valhalla, so on. Why do the Macedonians want to invite all the scientists of the world for such basic things? Why grandmother, grandfather were not telling us stories about this? How can we ignore this fundamental heritage of our own? 3,000 years ago, we have lost our identity, our heritage, our memory. New technology, metallurgy of iron. The first time in human history we are able to make as many tools as we want. With stone, with wood, with bronze, not possible. With iron, easy. But not only instruments, weapons. The first time in human history, the might, the ability to make, also the ability to make things happen, was donated to us. The word might, the verb to make, is similar, Germanic, Slavic. The verb to give, to donate, is similar, Slavic, Latin. The word Macedonia, Macedonia, also the words magic, machina of the same origin, is as old as Iron Age. Armies, we raise armies as big as we want. Alexander. We celebrate manhood, individuality, heroism in times of war. Mother, family, community without value. Otherwise, people would not wage wars. We pointed out this feminine heritage in Germanic, in Slavic culture. What about the Latin population? The Latin population, descendants from the population of the longest lasting patriarchal reign, the Roman Empire. In their languages, this feminine heritage, we do not see it, not at first sight. But what is the psychoanalysis telling us about the possibility to forget? They tell us there is no such thing. They tell us all the memories, they're all here. But some of the memories, effectively most of them, are suppressed, moved from the consciousness into the subconsciousness. Therefore we lose control. How can I order stuff that I'm not conscious of? Anything goes. Western Europe, Latin, Mediterranean, Catholic, praying to God just like all the Christians, mostly through the Mother of God, the Holy Virgin. Hail Mary, Ave Maria. The word mare in Latin, Latin is the language of the Catholic Church, means the sea. Maria, that's plural, the seas. Millions of us happy fishermen, million times every single day, we are still praying to the seas, just not consciously. And Eastern Europe, even more interesting. Around this fisherman paradise, Europe, the most paradisiac is here, Balkan. Around the Balkan Peninsula, 1,000 little islands close to each other, close to the coast. The easiest place on planet Earth to learn navigation is right here. In Eastern, Slavic, Orthodox Europe, we find this feminine heritage displayed. Saint Sophia is the name of our cathedral here in Ohrid. The word Sophia in English means the wisdom. According to the Greek mythology, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, she comes from the head of the father. She is a virgin. In every one of these Orthodox cathedrals, not a single one of these Holy Wisdom of God churches is an ordinary, modest church. Everyone is a cathedral. It is not something that is hidden. We find the holy wisdom of God depicted as a virgin, as a female child. This is not Mary. This is God as a girl, all over Eastern Europe. And around these holy waters of the fishermen, this feminine motherhood, matricentric heritage is everywhere now, Christian iconography.